being a Canadian and living in Toronto, you don't even feel Canadian, you feel very much foreign.
I'm gonna keep it real with the black community. A lot of brown uncles don't like you.
No shit, Sherlock. But let me tell you a secret, Cody. The feeling is mutual.
Wagwan, everybody. Welcome to our next episode of Talk the Things podcast. Before we get into today's episode, I just want to say that a lot of the things I'm going to be saying in this podcast are not my thoughts personally, but you would hear my thoughts at the end of the podcast. So before you guys jump in the comment section and try to say foolishness, just listen to the video or click off from now and just don't comment no foolishness because it will be deleted, you will be blocked, and it won't be seen. But I want to be talking about the situation I see going all over TikTok, all over, like, it's table talk, it's public talk, it upon the news. People in the city are talking about it. It's a big topic in Toronto right now. And I did a video on this already, and it's kind of a continuation because the problem has gotten worse from I made that video, believe it or not. But we're gonna be talking about, I don't want to just say it sounds so racist, bro, but the Indians, we're gonna be talking about the Indian population, what do you call it, international students that have been migrating to Canada in recent years. I was even having a conversation with a man that I do business with, and he happens to be Indian. He came from India, I think, in 2018, and he was even telling me like, bro, I've never, other than in India, I've never see this yet, and it's so much. And he even said, I feel like it's messing up the Canadian way of life, like the economy and stuff. And we're gonna get into all of that very soon. And I have some notes put down. Okay, this is what people are complaining about. Okay, the unfair job market. They also say that they're kind of causing a housing crisis, or that we're in a housing crisis and we shouldn't be taking them. There's food bank problems, which I spoke about in my other podcast episode, and the social differences. There is going to be social differences when you have people moving from a next country to a next country. So let's just start talking about it, bro. First topic, the unfair job market. A lot of people are saying that they only are hiring Indians right now, which is in a way true. I'm not going to say that they're only hiring Indians, but listen me out. They say that every job field they dominate. And they also say that it's annoying because a lot of them come straight from India and really can't even speak the English, and it causes a communication barrier. And they say that Canadians are struggling to find jobs, but the only people that are getting these jobs seems to be these international students. Once again, these are my thoughts. These are just thoughts that are coming out of the city and from people who have called in to me before, because I try to do the call-in stuff, bro. There's something so annoying. I don't have the equipment for that yet. So people are just sending me their opinion, voice notes, whatnot, and that's what they're talking about. So back to the first thing is that they're only hiring Indians, which I don't believe is that they're intentionally doing that. But what I believe is that when you own a franchise, such as you buy a Tim Hortons, you're gonna have they're gonna hire who, you know what I mean? Because I remember there was a Tim Hortons owned by a black lady, and pure black people worked in there. You will go into some of them and there's only Filipino people in there because the franchise owner is Filipino. You would always have a few mix, but a lot of them right now are literally only Indian people, because I feel like a lot of the Indians are buying the franchises, like the Walmarts, the UPS, all those stuff, the Popeyes, the gas stations, the petrols, the Essos, the Shell. And if they're buying the franchise, they're going to bring their family to work in there. And I feel like that's exactly what's happening, especially now with international students. These people, they need a job because they can't come to Canada to not work. So I believe for them to even come here, they have to have them job they set from before they come, or when they come, they have to get that shit right away. That's what they be in the lines that wrap around the LCBO and the security office. The lines wrap around the building. Um, but also that's the next thing, that they're in every field. I don't know about like hospitals and thing, but you go to doctor's office, yeah, a lot of, but it's always been like that in doctor's office, and I feel like it's like that in every country. Um, when you go to like the fast food now, like, you will go to what would you say, like Popeyes and stuff, and if you go in the US, you will mostly see black people. In Canada, you're not going to none of them and seeing black people. Popeyes, Chicken Joy, KFC, all of those things are run by there's majority Indian people working in there. Now, once again, that's not a problem, but a lot of people are noticing that they have a lot of the jobs. Walmart, Food Basics, all of those places, a lot of them are working. But it's like what I said before, the international students, they have to have a job if they're coming here. So if they're coming here, they're gonna have to have a job. And if there's so much of them coming here, they're gonna be in so many jobs. But the next point is that they say that the English is annoying. Because they say, we couldn't go to India and not know the language, or not even India, let's say any country, China, or whatever it may be. We cannot go to their country and not know their language, but yet have a job. Before, people who live in that country and speak the language and are born there and need a job and can't get one, but they're giving it to immigrants who can't speak the language. Now, of course, they're gonna have an accent. People hear my accent and think it's annoying, but some of these people, they really cannot speak English. Like, they don't. It's like, what? Like, it's like you're talking to a wall sometimes. Like, there's no. It's like, it's very frustrating. So I know what people are talking about, but that's the next thing that people pointed out. And next thing now is that they say, like I was just saying, how the Canadians can't get jobs. It's very hard right now for Canadian people to get jobs, especially when like with how everything is so expensive. There's no way to live if you don't have some sort of income, and it is so hard to find an actual job that's paying good, let alone any job, because they're saying, I don't think it's the Indians that are taking all it up and we can't get a job because of that. But there is a lot of them working. So, I mean, it is hard for Canadians to get a job, and I can see why people will think that. But I don't know. I want you guys to let me know what you think about it in the comment section. I want to play you guys a video of a lady who's talking about that, and then I'll be right back.
On applying for jobs, I'd be rich by now. Being a Canadian and living in Toronto, you don't even feel Canadian, you feel very much foreign. Like, to all those other cultures down there, a specific one, I'm telling y'all, you will see them everywhere. In every friggin' job that you would least expect them to be in, they are there. Like, gas stations is number one top priority. Tim Hortons is number two top priority. I even see them at Italian restaurants now, all American restaurants now. Like, they come like roach. They come like roach, like some sort of rodent, and you just can't get rid of them.
All right, so now we're at the housing problem, right? They're saying that they're putting all the immigrants them in at the housing. Now, housing was always built for that, but it is kind of annoying when you see that there's Canadian people that are on the housing wait list for all 15 years and can't get a place. But some people that just came to the country got a big 4-bedroom house, and you have to wonder how. Like, shouldn't you be focusing on the people of your country before you're focusing on bringing immigrants from other countries? And not taking away resources from Canadians, but in a way taking resources away from Canadians. That part I can understand, because if you have to wait 15 years to get an apartment here on the housing wait list and you're born here, and some people come from other country and get it in months, it is kind of crazy. There is stuff that you can take to get your housing sped up, but a lot of times that's just not how it works, right? And like I said, housing was always built for immigrants and those lesser than people. But a lot of Indians that actually come here have to go to, what would you call it? They have to rent like basement. They have to rent places, right, to stay. So a lot of them don't get the housing, but there is a good number of them that come to the country and get the housing if they come with kids or whatever it may be. But single people, I don't think they just be getting houses like that. Now, the food bank issue, the next thing I want to talk about, they were saying that they treat it like it's just free food for only them. You will see a lot of videos on YouTube in Punjab and have Indians on the thumbnail like smiling with cereal saying how to get free food in Canada. And people are saying that is not what they're meant for, because especially now, if you watch the House of Commons in the question period, you will always hear the conservative side, big up you guys, always will be saying, yo, Canadians are in food bank lines for hours upon hours upon hours. It's never been like this before. And a lot of times when the Canadians get to the top of the food bank, now they hear say there's no food because all the international students came and took them all. And if you go into my previous video that I was talking about this, the part one basically, I put a news clip in there where they were talking about that, where they were saying a food bank in Brampton had to close down completely. They were saying it's too much. They can't handle because it's only them coming and taking stuff. And then you see the videos on YouTube that they're posting. So it's a clear target market. Like, they know who they're trying to, they almost, they, you know what they're doing. You know what I mean? The last topic I want to talk about was the social differences. People say that they do too much in social spaces, such as when they go downtown, the Young and Dundas, how they're just they make a lot of noise, they jump around in circle, but that's just Young and Dundas. That's how downtown's gonna be. Sometimes they have their big celebrations or whatever, but they're here on vacation, so a lot of times you can't be miserable. You have to remember, say it is Canada, and there was always a big presence of Indian people. It's just now it's that they're all over in the white people area in all different places where they weren't before. Like they were always there, but a lot of people are seeing them a lot more. They were also saying, like, if you're on the bus, how like they will have their shoes off on the bus with their feet up and their music playing and their phone playing, blasting loudly, which is very annoying. You can't do that on like that's going right back to the next video I had with the you on that stab up the man on the train because he was playing the music out of his backpack. And I was saying that on the train and stuff, it happens a lot. Not necessarily really the bus. On the bus it happens, but the bus driver will mostly tell them to shut up because the bus is so squeezed. The train now is so long where you can't really control it and the man is behind the door. But with on the buses, like, people say they complain about that. Like, that's what I mean when I say social differences. I don't know if that's what they, do in India, but a lot of people, they don't like when they act like that in public on the bus. But a lot of people I also been seeing on TikTok saying that they think that they're better than black people. As a minority, they think they're a better minority. And I know there's gonna be a few people in the comments that's gonna try to say their foolishness. Listen to me, Batty man. You'll be black. You don't face nobody around here. Nobody's not scared of you. But that's what they say. And I want to play you guys a few TikTok videos so you guys can see that. And I'll be back with my final thoughts.
I'm gonna keep it real with the black community. A lot of brown uncles don't like you. Sit on the tables, they talk.
No shit, Sherlock. But let me tell you a secret, Cody. The feeling is mutual. Sarama Hamathan thought he was breaking some news to the man them. Fam, we've been doing that growing up. Our parents taught us, yo, these people don't like you, you know what I mean? But obviously we have to go into society and act like everything's all good. But fam, we've been knowing y'all didn't like us, and the feeling is mutual. It's no big deal, fam. We're a thick-skinned people, fam. Even in school growing up, I realized that the brown kids are way more protective of their women than the white guys. The white guys, they'll be like, okay, once she goes black, she'll never go back type shit. But the brown guys, they'll watch them. They'll give them looks. They'll look at you in your face, look at them in their face. They'll pre the whole scene. You know what I mean? They'll go talk to them after and type shit. You know what I mean? Fam, you know, like me, men are like you. Nobody's trying to beg for out here anyways. And in this economy, to be frankly honest, you're the last people we should be worrying about. The white people want you out of here worse than they want black people out here at this point. You know what I mean? And that's just crazy. Who would have ever thought they wanted somebody out of this country more than black people? The brown people took that whole position right now. Every time I go on social media, they're complaining about brown people are taking all the jobs. They're taking up all the schools, all the space. Y'all are the new black people. And another thing, why are black people always the topic of discussion at the dinner table? Like, I don't get it. Are we like and imagine homeboys talking about, he's like, they're sitting around talking about black people. They don't like black people. Brother, your uncles don't like black people. Our own uncles don't like us. Our own uncles don't want to claim us. You think I have time to worry about what your uncle's doing and my uncle doesn't even want to claim me?
These last few years, brown people have become the new black people within Canada, bro. Throughout my 20 years of existence growing up in Canada, through 4 different provinces, from Ontario to Manitoba to Alberta to British Columbia, never in my life have I had so many old white people coming up and talking to me as I have in the last few years, bro. And I started deeping this because the conversations were always the same. They were always complaining about brown people. Like, they can't make this up. The number of old white people, and even just white people in general, that have come up and complained to me about brown people is ridiculous work, bro. This was not happening a few years ago. In fact, they're complaining about people that look like me. I'm just here like, damn. This is what the other side look like. Even last year when I was working at the airport for my summer job, I have never seen that much casual racism against a group that isn't black in my life. I ain't gonna sit around here and lie to y'all. In that airport, there was way more brown people than any other race, which really shouldn't even be an issue, but a lot of people took issue with that. I remember there was this time I had a crew chief, and this is the first time I had this guy, this old white man, and wow, he was cooked. I promise you, I'm not making this up, bro. This guy, one of the first things he said to me and the other black guy I was working with was, wow, I'm so glad I didn't get any Indians on my crew. They're lazy and they don't work hard. And we're just looking at each other like, yo, what? Because taken, while he was a crew chief, this guy was also a part of management. So I'm just like, Yo, big dog, I don't think you can say all that, dog. It's actually ridiculous. It happens in real life, but it's also online too. I think online it might be the worst. If you want to see what I'm talking about, go look at 6buzz comment sections for a second, bro. I promise you, it won't take that long to find any hate towards brown people. I open up the comment section and all I see is people complaining about brown people taking all the jobs out there. I'm just like, damn. This place is lucky cuts. And there I was thinking that everything was getting better when I started seeing more old white people smiling at me in the streets. Whole time, the only reason they were smiling at me in the streets is because they found a new enemy. And I can't even sit here and lie to y'all and say it's only the white people. I've seen an exuberant amount of every other race that isn't white hate on brown people too. And I'm just like, dog, y'all realize we were in the same position as them like a few years ago? I don't know, bro. It's kind of sad to see, to be honest with you. I thought we was moving forward when I started seeing those smiles, but the whole time, the target just shifted to someone else. Things like this really just goes to show how hurt people, and hate begets hate. Because there's no way I should see black people teaming up with white people against the brown people when the white people were just saying the same things they're saying about the brown people now to us a few years ago, bro. What are we doing? I'm praying that the world heals one day.
What is going on in Canada? If you look throughout Canada right now, as you see by the videos, there's a lot of celebration of the Desi culture going on, which I think is great. I think it's always great to celebrate your culture. I do think there is a fine line of respecting other people around you and other cultures around you, because in these countries, Canada, US, UK, Australia, you're in a melting pot. There's other cultures. You gotta be mindful of what you're celebrating. We're doing a Diwali celebration in Walmart. I think it's funny. I think it's cool. But the people who don't celebrate the holiday, who are going to Walmart just to shop, see that, like, for them, it's kind of inconvenient. It's like, hey, I'm just here to shop. But yeah, I just think it's just a common courtesy thing of like, hey, if you're going to celebrate Diwali, let's not do it in a Walmart. And out of all places, why a Walmart? Like, pick a nice community center or something else besides Walmart. And also, you saw the Canadian national anthem being sung in Punjabi, and that caused outrage. I really don't find an issue with it, because like, if you have a big Punjabi community, you want to do something nice that I guess brings the community together. On the flip side, if it is a diverse community, now you gotta do other languages for the national anthem. It creates a tricky fine line of like, who do we include and who do we not. Overall, Canada is known for being a big Desi population. I literally went to Calgary. I went to the Toronto airport. Like, I've been around Canada. The biggest thing people are saying is like, oh, these people are coming in and now they're changing our culture, which I don't think is true. I think Canadian culture is in check. And I just think a lot of people do naturally just assimilate to the culture and just bring your own twist and stuff to it. But I don't think it's that big a deal that people are making out to be on like social media comments of like, oh no, they're taking over a country or Canada lost its way. I just think there should be a little more awareness of like when you're doing certain events, or just have respect for the overall Canadian population, other cultures and other people.
All right, so you guys just seen that. Now, I want to get into my final thoughts with this whole situation. And now these are my thoughts. I think that, yeah, it is a big amount of them, but I think this is a business thing for the liberals. I'm very into politics and I see how this goes. And if you know, then you know. This was always Justin Trudeau's plan. The man never said where he was going to get the immigrants from, but he was saying he wants to bring up to like 500,000 immigrants a year till he builds up our population to like 50 million by the time him turned down. The man's been saying these things for years. It's just that he's really doing his plan and it's coming in now. And a lot of people are pissed off about it because there's never been, not never been, it was a different what do you call it, demographic of people that came before, like when the Jamaicans and the black people them came in the 70s. And then they say that a lot of people from it was like the Philippines or some Asian country, they said they were going to like Vancouver a lot at one point too. So it always happens, it always has mass migration, and it's always the same response. Because when black people came, the white people never like it. Now the Indians come and a lot of people are finding problem with it. I'm sure when the Chinese came, a lot of people never liked it. Or the Asians, I should say. We don't know really what they were, but I feel like this is something that's always gonna happen whenever there's a big migration to a foreign country of a certain people. This happens all the time, every few years. Not few years, I'll say probably every couple decades. But we're in one right now, and I feel like this is just a big cash grab for the liberal. Them don't think Justin Trudeau isn't making money doing this, and that he's not trying to just get his next votes. He wants them to vote for him again. He wants to stay in office because he lost the Canadian vote. Nobody in Canada is not voting. Nobody don't like that man no more. So now he's trying to bring in all the immigrants he can so that he can try and make up for the Canadian vote that he lost. But he won't win again. Believe me, he won't win. He won't win. It won't happen. But you guys let me know what you think about this down below. Let me know what you think about this whole situation. Everything I listed, from the food bank issues, the social differences, the housing problem, the unfair job market, all those stuff. Let me know. Keep the discussion going. Be respectful. And we will talk next time on Talk the Things podcast.
Pretty little Bobby.